Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga Texas construction update video.
Hey, I'm back out on a Friday, and this is the weekend for Memorial Day, and Monday is going to be a federal holiday coming up. So because of that, I don't expect much activity here at Giga Texas, and I'm going to be home with friends and family celebrating the weekend and the federal holiday, and also just ask everybody, keep in your thoughts and prayers all of the members of the armed forces that have served but never came home. That is kind of the main purpose for Memorial Day, but otherwise it's a good day to take a break and just spend some time with friends and family, and that's what I'm planning on doing. Now, there's another big thing that's going on next week that's going to affect my schedule and my flying that I want to let you know about. As you are aware, I follow SpaceX and Starship development, and I've been doing a lot of the coverage of the flights, in fact, pretty much every single one of them, and I'm planning on doing that again this time. Now, we just got word yesterday from the FAA that they have given the launch license to SpaceX for Flight 9, and they've been also down at Starbase doing a lot of last-minute testing of the ship and preparing the booster and the launch mount, everything ready to go for the launch. And today, SpaceX has released a lot of information about what happened on Flight 8, and specifically they talked about the ship, and they identified that the root cause for the rapid unscheduled disassembly of Flight 8 was unrelated and different than what we saw on Flight 7. Flight 7, there was a harmonic issue. Apparently, the work that they did on that did fix or at least repair that system, and they're pretty confident in it. For Flight 8, it was actually a center sea level Raptor engine that had a problem and a leak in one of the pipes that goes into the Raptor plumbing, and that caused an ignition event and then an energetic removal of some of the engines and caused the loss of control that we saw on Flight 8. So that has also been evaluated by the FAA, and they have closed out that mishap report too. So everything is good to go for Starship Flight 9 next week. And finally, SpaceX posted today that they have confirmed that they are going to launch on Tuesday, the 27th of May, and that's going to be about 18:30 or 6:30 p.m. Central Daylight Time for about a 2-hour window. So I'm going to be heading down that way. On my way, I'm going to try to stop and get some updated video and information about the Corpus Christi lithium plant. Hopefully everything and timing and weather will work out for me on that. And of course, then I will be doing a lot of the coverage of the flight of Starship. And also because of that, I'm not planning on flying next week here at Giga Texas with my drone, and so hopefully, you know, there won't be a lot going on that week, and then when I get back, it'll be ready for June, which is the big unveil of the robo-taxi service, which is a big deal, and that's going to be going on here at Austin, and hopefully I'll get a chance to cover some of that. We also have potentially the new lower cost vehicle coming out sometime, or at least being announced sometime in June. So that's exciting to look forward to. And of course, there's a lot of construction and changes going on here at Giga Texas, some of which you'll see in the video today. So anyway, even though I'm going to miss out next week, there's a lot going on in June, and we'll get back to flying when I get back from Starbase. So other than that, I hope you have a great long weekend. Enjoy Memorial Day, and let's get the drone in the air, fly around, and see what Giga Texas looks like on this Friday. As always, thank you very much for your support. I appreciate it. Let's go flying.
If you would like to support my efforts, please consider using these links, which will be in the video description. If you are considering purchasing Starlink, I would recommend that you use my referral link at the bottom of the screen. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons on my YouTube video, as this helps as well. Thank you. My drones are ready and raring to go. Let's go flying over Giga Texas. Good morning from the far southwest side of Giga Texas, looking back towards the main factory over the outbound lot and the end-of-line facility. Of course, at the bottom of the screen is this large field that we've been seeing work with some dirt excavation, dirt storage, and also some of these spoils from the tunneling that is going on from the caissons underneath the Colorado River. Now, one of the things that really did get my interest here today as we fly over this material staging yard with a lot of the steel on the bottom of the screen is this new sprung structure that is being erected next to where all of these transformers are located. Now, 2 videos ago, we saw the sprung structure being delivered. Last video, we saw them laying it out, and now we see about half of it has been erected. And we call it a sprung structure because it has this tent-like appearance, but it is got a structure underneath it that is something that can be put up and then taken back down and reused. So this looks like it's going to be some sort of perhaps a workshop coming up, and maybe they'll be doing work with the transformers, or maybe it's going to be for some other purpose. So that'll be definitely something that we continue to watch. We also see some white platform type items on the ground stored near that sprung structure. So I'm going to bring the drone up and we're going to fly over the Colorado River and take a look at some of the work going on in the caisson on the south bank of the river. So we're taking a look at this caisson. We see the tunnel boring machine laid out next to it on the right-hand side of the screen. And as I get closer to look down into the base of that caisson, we see it just looks like a dirt floor, and that section that they had kind of opened up for the tunnel boring machine looks like it may be partially buried underneath all of this dirt. Now, we did have a large thunderstorm come through last night, so I don't know if that had any effect on this whatsoever. But as I pull away, you can see some of the equipment besides the tunnel boring machine on the right-hand side of the screen, some of the other equipment to make sure that it can operate laid out next to that. So as I pull away, this gives you a quick view of what this site looks like today. And of course, that tunnel boring machine is going underneath the Colorado River towards this other caisson where they are installing these concrete pipe segments. Looks like they are doing one right now. Crane is positioned over that caisson. You can see another one of those concrete tunnel segments getting ready to be moved in on the left-hand side of the screen, and some workers near that caisson as well. So I won't be able to look in there, but that work is obviously continuing, and with all of the concrete segments that we see nearby, gives you an idea of just how much more they have to do to get this tunnel completed. So I'm going to fly around towards the north and go over the Cyber Tunnel. And I wanted to just get a quick look at the work that is going on here at the end of line and outbound facility today. Now, of course, not only is it a Friday, which means it's not a production day, but also we're getting ready for a long weekend. So I don't really expect to see much as far as any new vehicles moving from the factory over to this side. But they are doing some cleanup work, preparing the last of the vehicles that were in the end of line facility for transport and getting them over into the outbound lot. As you can see, many of them here. Good mix of Cybertrucks and Model Ys. And then the transport operations offsite will continue through the weekend. And there is a development when it has to do with transport trucks, and I'll show you that a little later in the video. It's to the north of here in that section where we've been monitoring some of that construction. So I'm going to maneuver back over to the material staging yard here. I wanted to see if there was any change on the transformers that are being stored here. You can see them at the top center of the screen. As I continue to maneuver around, just a good view of all the rest of the materials that are here. But overall, not really much change in the last video or so. So the last 2 or 3 days here with these transformers. but I'll continue to monitor this, and we'll have a good comparison when I get back of just how much has changed and if they've been adding any more. So I'm going to fly back over to the outbound lot and around where the vehicles are stored here on the west side, and waiting for those transport trucks to do that transport operation over the weekend. And on the north end, we do see a lot more Cybertrucks, so that production is definitely continuing. So I'll give you a few views of these parked Cybertrucks, and then we're going to continue to go further to the north. So I alluded to this earlier in the video, but kind of a surprising development. It appears that this section where they've been doing some of that grade work and putting the gravel down, it looks like they're going to be using it, at least in a temporary basis, for transport trucks that are being stored here temporarily. And here's a good view of what that looks like. They're also doing a sidewalk around the corner here next to Tesla Road. And I'm kind of wondering if this doesn't indicate that they're going to be doing a slightly different form of transportation of the vehicles off the lot. These look like they may be new and they are different. And maybe that's also indicating something with production later on as we get into June and we hopefully start seeing the lower cost vehicle. But it is interesting to note that there is that change that is underway that affects the outbound lot and the outbound transportation. So we've come across the highway. I'm going to bring the drone down lower. We're going to fly across this berm. This is from this point all the way down to the south where we've been seeing that trench work and some of the conduit and also water pipe being installed. And this is a great view of how far that has progressed down towards the flagpoles, and this is going to continue for some time. I did notice that we have some of these electrical service trucks, or at least utility service trucks. These are generally used for some of the vehicles that are on site, so maybe they are doing some maintenance on this Friday, which is somewhat of a down day, and maybe that's makes good use of the time that they have. I did notice that a lot of spools of cable are here prepared for loading up onto this platform, along with some white items that look like perhaps production equipment or production line equipment that has been moved up to that top floor. Here is a good view of the trench boxes and the work that they are doing with excavation and doing more of those pipes. And as you can see, they're getting closer to the flagpoles with more pipes laid out next to this gravel. So I'm going to continue to fly to the south along the berm and get a good look here at the flagpoles, and then we're going to resume on the south end. Here's a little change that has just recently been made. They've put these marks on the ground showing how that exit tunnel underneath that window line will work, how it mimics that pathway that goes underneath. And this is how the vehicles will be kind of marshaled through. You can also see those receiving doors look like they're active on the left. Another pane of glass still waiting for installation. And since there's nothing in my way here, I'm going to bring the drone down and give you a zoom in so you can see what this operation looks like here inside. And of course, the markings for the exit of that lane, and then with the new markings, how it intends for the vehicles to exit this part of the factory. We do see some items that have been delivered next to that white van by the wall. On the ground, it looks like some work on the window line. And then as we get around this southwest corner, we can see that they are really working a lot on this kind of entranceway, receiving door. They have these yellow temporary panels now installed, or at least these panels installed. They may not be temporary. And again, by the time I get back from my time at Starbase, I expect this to be finished probably painted black to match with the window line, but that'll be something that we will discover together when I get back. I also noticed that there is more trench work here working their way to the north, and on the right-hand side of the screen is more of the trench boxes that they'll use for the installation of the pipe once the trenches are done. Here's a view into one of the excavations that is underway now. It looks like that may be for a concrete vault, similar to what we see coming into a view here in the middle of the screen. And I think this is all unrelated to that caisson that you see on the right-hand side of the screen, but that'll be yet something else that we will get updated on when I get back from Starbase on my next video. But here's a good view from here looking back to the main factory and what this part of the site looks like today. I'm going to fly around and we'll resume on the east side of the south extension. Looks like the work on the parapet wall, kind of that glass, smaller sections, continues with that man lift and that umbrella for the workers. In addition to that, we see 5 of the 6 fan units on the cooling unit operational. Here's a view at that temporary platform and those areas where the glass is still not yet installed, and I have been seeing a few items being lifted up, or at least moved towards that platform for movement inside. Anything larger, we're going to need to see a crane there, and so far that has not yet materialized. Here's a nice view across this pond to the multi-level parking garage. But what I really want to do is fly around over the tree line towards the recycling yard and see what material is being recycled here. Now, one of my Patreons, Desi Doolin, has suggested that I take a look here and see if maybe there are any production items that might be related to Cybercab or the new vehicle. Don't really see any of that, but I do see a lot of these wheels and tires being stockpiled here. It is possible that these are excess, and every once in a while we see kind of an employee-only event where they are allowed to purchase these wheels and tires at a steep discount, and it's kind of a little perk that they offer employees here. So perhaps they're storing these now and getting ready for that event later on. Here's another, just a zoomed in view of the rest of the recycling operations going on here. Some of these bins for materials, and this is a quick view of what is in there. And it's really hard to tell at this altitude. I don't really see anything that is at least noticeable that may be related to production of the lower cost vehicle or the Cybercab. But it was a great idea by Desi, so I'll continue to monitor this site and a few other areas to see if we can detect that change in production, or at least the beginning of that production. And since we are getting into the summer, and Lars and Franz in their latest interview talked about the fact that the production lines are coming along here and they're going to be doing test production for the Cybercab this summer, that would be a reason to keep this in view. So we fly over that material staging yard. We just saw some of the materials being stored there next to these trailers for the contractors. And the upper right shows not really activity at that temporary, or that old temporary testing lot. It looks pretty much empty to me. As we look along this side of the building, many of those temporary platforms are in view. The one on the left is for that 3rd floor, which is that new mezzanine area that has been installed over the original 2nd floor. And that's just allowing more production. And this is related to Body in White and also for Cybercab. We can also see more of those platforms at the lower level using that glass entranceway. And of course, this new platform and opening over the south end of casting. And this is kind of a zoomed in view so you can see what that looks like. And just have some plastic on the inner wall, so really can't see inside. But with that platform now in place, it looks like we may start seeing a crane nearby and then materials loaded inside. This is a nice zoomed in view showing the racks for the castings, the filtration plant, and the melt center. Doesn't look like there's a lot of castings today, so perhaps just because there's not going to be production over the next few days for the Memorial Day weekend and Memorial Day holiday, maybe they're giving a little bit of a break for the moment, and then they'll resume that next week. But that's just my guess, just looking at what we can see here on the site. So as we fly over the melt center on the roof and see some of the details on this part of the roof, one of the things I did notice next to the 4680 platforms, and I'll get the drone down lower, is that there are some interesting deliveries here wrapped in silver foil. There's another delivery in white plastic nearby there with the worker. That gives you an idea of scale. It's really hard to tell what exactly this is. It does not look like a robotic assembler. It looks like more like a partially assembled piece of equipment, and then most likely that'll be moved inside and assembled onto other equipment that is already there. Another thing that I did notice that I would like to show you over on this side of the north casting, handling, and sorting lot is that they have laid out a lot of the Cybercab rear subframe castings. And this gives me a great opportunity to get in lower, zoom in, and show you some more details. Probably the most detailed view of these castings that I've been able to give you just because of the location here. And it's just, I'm not sure why they have them particularly in this location or why they are laid out the way they are. But there's another section over here near where it says untrimmed. They're all on pallets, and they look like maybe they're ready for use, or maybe they're storing them here until they're ready for use. Anyway, it's just another interesting development when it has to do with castings. Otherwise, most of the rest of these here would be racks for castings of Cybertrucks, and most of these are empty right now. I'm going to get ready to cross over to Tesla Road. We're going to take a look at some of the developments by the new Megapack. I'll drop down here and give a nice look at all of the work around the Megapack, some of the earthwork nearby. It looks like they've got some potentially roadways. They're preparing to put the perimeter fence around this section. And then down the middle on the cable trays, the cables have been pulled out. A lot of them have already been connected, and crews are working to connect even more. This seems like it's moving along quite quickly. And the end of these cables connect either into this large trailer kind of control room, or also to the conduit that is underneath there. And that will continue over to the electrical switch yard just to the right of the screen. And of course, more cable on spools are laid out for further installation. As I pull away, I wanted to give you a good view of the earthwork that is underway. The trailers on the left are the ones that are being removed so they can continue and extend the construction in that direction. This is how this kind of a marked off roadway looks, and some of the graded area on the right. And then here it looks like they're doing more excavation. They've got those kind of cut-in staircases to allow easier access down into this area, and that suggests that this is going to be here for quite some time with a lot of workers in that depression. So that'll be interesting to see what comes of that over the next week or so. Also, the islands with those lower level power lines are still there. I do expect those to be removed soon. And this is a nice overall view of that entire east side of where that switchyard is going to be expanded, and a good view of where that more construction could be happening in the upper right. Speaking of construction, the Cortex 2 building is definitely taking shape. They are just about 5 columns, footings array from the north end, and that perimeter grade beam. Obviously more steel has been delivered here recently and arrived over towards where the footings are, and you can see some of that work underway right now to reposition, and the cranes are also being used to move the materials to where they need it. And there's additional work being done on this northernmost row of columns and beams right now, finishing that up, and then they will continue to work towards the north. As I bring the drone down lower, this is a nicer view sort of underneath the structure. You can see the decking material for the roof laid onto the beams on the right. And here's a man lift and crews working on that roof section. We also see some steel items on the bottom right of the screen that have been delivered next to this container. And I'll kind of turn this way and give you an idea of the scale with the workers and just some of the items that seem to be delivered and for further installation as time goes on. As we pass over the keystone section with more of the forms for the concrete, I'm going to bring the drone up and fly towards the parking lot over these concrete items, show you these trailers, and then we'll resume our flight back over towards the Cortex 2 for the other side. But for right now, I really wanted to show you how this new trailer assembly is coming together. It looks like they've been all placed into their final locations. Some of the stairs, ramps, and kind of I don't know, patios between the two larger the trailers has been placed. And on the left-hand side of the screen is the old trailers and the complex that is about to be removed so that they can do additional construction. And I wonder when I get back in about a week or so if they will have moved a lot of these operations to those new trailers. As I mentioned, I'll come back over, show you another development here at Cortex 2, and this is the continuation of what we saw in the last video with the steel studs that have been delivered, and now they're being installed. And this is what it looks like here on this corner. This does suggest that the exterior of this building is going to be different than what we see with the main factory, the die shop, or the cathode building. I don't think it's going to be concrete panels. It may just be metal panels. And if that's the case, this is going to be more like a warehouse kind of construction that also is very similar to what we saw with the Colossus over at Memphis, Tennessee for XAI. They have a very similar kind of building and structure. So that may be one of the reasons why they're doing that. It's similar for a data center, but also it's probably cheaper and quicker to install that than with all of the concrete panels. This is the alleyway between the die shop on the left and the battery cathode plant on the right. Not a lot of changes or any obvious work going on here today. On the bottom of the screen is where they've been landscaping around the trees and materials for more of the stormwater pipe management system under the ground. On the right is where they've been doing work for that outlet for that water pond. And then here I noticed that there were several of these crash tested vehicles getting ready for movement off-site, and they will be taken off for recycling. And they do this periodically, but this gives you an idea of what they have been up to as far as crash testing. There's more of them next to the fence line. And just recently, Tesla released that the Model 3 has a 5-star rating for safety. And you can see that the safety is definitely something that they take seriously with this dedicated crash test facility and the number of vehicles that they continue to crash test so they can improve the product. And that's definitely in very apparent here at Giga Texas with this facility. Now, I did notice that on the left-hand side, you can see a bobcat working. They're kind of spreading some dirt around, and then just to the north of the fence, they're putting in some asphalt, and it looks like it's generally aligned with where that bobcat is working. So they may be joining this together and having sort of more of a paved road on this side. It'll be something I'll watch to see if that does in fact connect together. And it may be a way for them to connect the crash testing facility and the wake pit area more into one kind of grouped facility than it is right now. But this is a great view of that work that is underway on this east side of the battery cathode plant. So that will bring to an end our views around the site today. Because it's a Memorial Day weekend and I won't be flying for a little while, I thought I would do this grand pullback at a much higher altitude so you can get a great sense of the entire site, all of the areas that we visited, that far southwest and the upper center of the screen, the main factory, the Cortex 2 and the Megapacks on the right-hand side, and of course, all of this work to the north of the battery cathode plant. The fields that we see are all still part of Giga Texas, and there's a lot of material up here as well. So that will bring it to an end of the video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a great Memorial Day weekend, and as always, thanks for watching. Take care.